going on, ladies and gentlemen? Josh here from Polymathics, the YouTube channel that helps you become a modern day Renaissance man. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about why now, this generation, this time is the best damn time to be a writer, to write your book, to publish your book, and to start working towards your goals and your dreams and sharing your gifts and most importantly, your story. And in order to illustrate this, I want to go back to someone that many of us know, someone that has influenced a lot of writers in the past, and that is Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, for those of you that don't know, he lived towards the end of the Tudor dynasty, like King Henry and Queen Elizabeth and things like that, all right? And a lot of his plays have been adapted into books and movies, but you have to remember the type of writer the type of storyteller that Shakespeare was, he was a screenwriter for theater, for plays, okay? So, particularly back in those days, the troupe, they would have a theater troupe of actors and things like that, and they would go from theater to theater, town to town, and they would perform, and sometimes they would get to perform in front of the court and the nobles, and that's how it got so popular and things like that. The cool thing that was going on then is that Shakespeare could get immediate feedback from the audience about the play, and he could change the lines of the he could change the lines of the characters based on the actors and the response he got from the audiences. And so a lot of the plays that we now know as kind of set in stone, back in the day, depending on the actor who was playing and who they were performing in front of, there could have been wild changes to what the audience actually got. And that is a lesson that we can now take into our own lives in the modern time. As a playwright, Shakespeare didn't have to write a novel, print it in a book, send out thousands of copies to people. He basically jotted down some notes on paper and was able to hand it out to his cast, and they would continuously do this until everybody got really acquainted with the script. And then eventually those scripts were turned in to books and screenplays that are now in the modern times. What we have today is a very similar setup. With digital publishing and companies like Amazon, you as a writer can publish your book, get the audience reaction, and then based on that, you can tweak it. That maybe there's areas where people didn't necessarily like, and this doesn't have to be fiction either. This could be nonfiction. Maybe you get feedback that, this particular area, the author didn't go into depth on how to do these steps, and I'm confused about how to do it. Well, guess what? You as the author could take that feedback. You could develop that particular chapter, republish in about, say, 2 or 3 days, and then respond to the commenter, letting them know that you fixed it. This is not only a great way to reach out to your audience, to build goodwill with your customers and your readers, but moreover, it's the best time for you to be able to receive feedback. In the past, with traditional publishing and things like that, you'd have to go through an editor and beta readers, and that was really the only feedback that you got. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an editor or beta readers. That's actually very important. However, I believe that if you take the reviews and the comments and all that stuff that you get from people, you can change it now, right? You can totally change your story, your book. You have so many options now in the modern time. If the book is just a real stinker, for lack of a better word. Like, people just hate it. You can take it off the shelves, totally rework it, revamp it, even put it under a different title and re-release it. And then and sometimes it's just a matter of the spin on the book, or sometimes it's a matter of maybe you marketed to the wrong audience. Okay? So, there are so many opportunities and tools at the writer's disposal now that people aren't even considering, because they're locked into this mindset of traditional publishing that has been ruling for the last couple centuries now. But we're in a new day and age, and while the internet is still maturing, it's not in its infancy anymore, but it's also not fully developed either. And we're the ones. This is why it's such an opportunity for us right now, because once it matures, there will be new things that come out after that, and they'll take over the wave, and things like that. We're the ones right now at this really amazing point in history that can write the books of the internet. And just like Shakespeare, we can take the feedback from our audiences and really create solid pieces of works. A lot of problems that new authors have is they're either self-indulgent with their works. They try to please themselves rather than the people who they're catering to, the audience. And secondly, they miss out on opportunities because they don't get multiple viewpoints from other people and other perspectives on it. Well, what did you expect to happen in the scene? Maybe that was a better idea than what you as the writer did. And so, there's so many opportunities for people who are storytellers. And I use the word writer loosely. I actually don't like that word at all, but I know that's the one that resonates the best with most people. Storytellers is really what I mean. People who have stories in them. You have so many opportunities today, and I hope you guys embrace them and take them. And if you're unsure about all of this new technology, how to use it, where to use it, what ways, I've tried to create videos. You guys can look them up. I just recently, like a couple weeks ago, released a video called How to Write a Book in 2017. There's so many different ways to write a book. People automatically, especially if they're aspiring writers that have never really given serious thought to writing before, and they're just entering into this industry, they automatically think that, it has to be done on a typewriter. I have to do all of these different steps in order to get there. That's not the case. Trust yourself, okay? Are there certain conventions and standards that the industry uses? Absolutely. But as a writer, you have ghostwriters at your disposal. You have dictation software at your disposal. You have beta readers. You have editors. There's so many things that you can use to create your content and write your stories that you should not be afraid. And especially nowadays in this time, you should feel more empowered than ever to put content out. And yes, will you fail? More likely you will, especially when you're new. And sometimes it's not even a real failure. You just might perceive it as a failure because when we all start off as writers, we just assume the glory. We think about how great our story is going to impact all these other people, and we think of people like J.K. Rowling who have very inspiring stories, or Stephen King or George R.R. Martin. You see their stories being put up on the big screen and they're huge blockbusters, and you're like, man, that's what I want to do. And the thing is, at first you set your expectations so high that you don't realize those people, it took a long time for them to get to where they are. There are very few people who hit it on the first story right away. And if they did, there's usually some reason behind it. Maybe they were a business mogul before, so they already had connections or something. Or the people who hit it big in the beginning, those are the ones who actually have it the worst. Because if you fail a couple times, you know what not to do. If you don't fail, you don't know what not to do, and you may not be able to replicate your success over the long term. So take that into account. All right, I've been ranting for 10 minutes. I hope this helps you guys. If you're out there, you want to write a story, you want to share your story, some big idea that your company does, your brand does, do it. Don't stop. If you got questions, ask somebody. People like me are here at your disposal to help. Okay, you guys, take it easy.